Just one touch, tell me who you are, here beneath the skies of a star. It seems we are on. Hello, everybody.
Yes, we are on, and I'm not sure if that actually was a good idea to actually start with the song of Skies of Astar, but still we are here now, and we will talk a little bit about the show, because who I have here is, of course, Cheetah himself. He's not only just the chairman of this convention, but also the one who directs everything pretty much inside the show. So if you usually have some kind of question about what happened there, he is pretty much the best to go with. And so to give you a little better understanding about the show that is to come in just a half an hour, we invited him that he can talk a little bit about himself and the show.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Cheetah. I'm the director and one of the main writers of this craziness that's called the Pawpetshow. And we are about to see the final edited and on-screen viewable version of the Skies of Astar, our show from 2017, which I dare say was pretty much one of the most ambitious shows we ever made. And I think even though the production only took us about maybe 3/4 of a year, I think we all aged about at least 5 years during that production.
Definitely. I totally agree on that part. By the way, I was part of that show. I was Mr. Welch there, so I know a little bit from the behind, but still I would like to keep it for Cheetah that he tells us how actually the production was. For example, where was actually the idea coming from?
Oh, the idea. Well, there's usually not that one moment where the idea comes. The initial idea was, how would it be if you would meet an intelligent being that you can only talk to with your mind? And how would that relationship work if you knew what they were thinking and they knew what you are thinking? And then we came up with the idea that only one person actually has that ability, and how hard it would be to for that one person to überzeugen, to convince. Good morning, Cheetah.
Hey there.
To convince everybody that this is actually a person they're dealing with and not just an animal. So one of the main themes of the show is how speech makes a difference, how we see animals as intelligent or not, and how we never really know what's going on in an animal's mind unless we could see into it. That's the main idea that the show started with, the writing started with.
Okay, so that is pretty much the reason for author there, I guess.
Yes.
But why a dragon?
Why a dragon? She's not a dragon. See, she is. We called her an Erdesian Longwing. Yeah. What was the German? Erdesianischer Langflügler. Großflügler. Yeah. And everybody thinks she's a dragon because she has that dragon-like form with wings and long tail, but she has feathers all over, and she doesn't know what a dragon is. She has no notion of human culture, and so she's just, well, what the heck, what you're talking about? What's a dragon? I'm not a dragon, I'm just me.
I think it was an absolutely great idea, especially with her, and made a lot of the fantasy genre a little bit upside down. But I also know that the makers behind author had quite a living with that, especially the time they put into the puppet. I know that it was one of the most complicated puppets we ever created. Am I correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Theo, our master puppet builder, ran the project, and I think there were at least a dozen people involved in making this puppet. They met for months every weekend and putting more stuff into it. We started the design process for the puppets really early in production because we knew it would be hard. Worst case, it takes 6 people to play this thing, and she's more than 2 meters long. And of course, yes, we had never built anything like that. So many small iterations over many hard weekends. With Theo, Haku, I think Kida, Fervin. I have no idea how many more people were there. We basically took every volunteer we could get for this.
I think everyone appreciates pretty much what actually came around, because Arthur was just a sight to be behold. He was, I
Yeah,
think,
and we completely fell in love with our own character, and we've been bringing the puppet back to EF every year because everybody just likes Arthur, and she sort of developed a bit of a life of her own because she's just so cute.
I can't tell anything else. She is absolutely lovely, especially with Tani making her voices. Though I heard there were a lot of difficulties with, for example, also the recording of the show. So you had to make a lot of noises there yourself.
Yeah. Preparing this release that we're going to see today, that was a lot of work too, because every puppet show is. The reason for that, why it takes so long to make viewable videos of these shows, is that the shows are very imperfect. And in a live situation, nobody gives a damn about that, because there's the whole atmosphere, there's the joint experience of 1,000 people in the room. And when you prepare a puppet show for something that you're going to watch in your living room on a screen, you will have a much more analytic look at the picture, and you will have a much better reception of the sound effects. You will think more about what is happening, so you will more likely be to actually try and follow the story. And that's when all the little things that went wrong, because we are simply not that professional, add up. And so it takes a couple of months to edit everything together and fix all the little things in post, so that you have a viewing experience that is as good as what you had in your memories from the evening when we actually played this.
Still, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will appreciate what they will see in just 20 minutes, because it is pretty much what you envisioned, as far as I know, because there were also some hiccups during the show that were not that perfect.
Oh, yes. I'm not sure if I should talk about this before the show, or if I should talk about this after the show and then ask people if they noticed. Because if I mention all the glitches now, I don't want people to look for it. One little thing. Oh, fuel. Thank you. One thing you will notice, for example, that is something often you find out after the fact, that something wasn't quite as planned, and while it didn't go entirely wrong, it also didn't quite go right. For example, the cameras that are set up in the audience room to film the show are usually set up for standard stage events, and so you usually are on eye height with actors. But the setup in the Puppet Show, on the Puppet Show stage, is built in a way to be watched from the position of the audience. So the audience is looking up at the stage, and that means that everything that is towards the back of the puppet stage, it's a box that is roughly 4 meters deep. So everything that goes to the back of the puppet stage is built at a higher elevation, so that when the audience looks up at it, everything seems to be on one level. However, if you now film this with the regular cameras, who are adjusted for regular stage shows with people on the stage, they are simply set up too high. So during this recording, you will probably see a lot of stuff that goes on underneath props that you're not supposed to see, and you're going to see a lot of puppeteers' heads. Just try to ignore them. We all know it's puppet theater, so why pretend? Just look at the characters, enjoy the show. It's something that's not possible to fix after the fact.
I think we can only agree on that point, especially since we have very different characters usually behind the stage. We don't have puppeteers who are on the same, height usually. We have people who are very, very tall and people that are not that tall.
Yes, that too, yeah. Puppeteers all come in different heights, and with volunteers, you don't have a choice. You work with the people you like. You work with your friends, no matter how tall they are. Yeah, I could probably hold a panel about an hour with just the war stories from that show. For example, one thing that happened is to make Arthur fly, we built a large platform about 2 by 3 meters or so, with that had wheels underneath, and then there was like a scaffold out of 2 by 4 planks, and Arthur would hang from above like from a galgen, whatever that word is. Yes, to make that work, we need enough space left of the main stage and right of the main stage to actually put this thing. And in that one scene where the planes are going around, the planes have to traverse the stage in one direction in front of the stage and then roll backstage. So we need a lot of clearance there. And it worked perfectly in rehearsal. We marked down all the spaces we had on a parking lot in front of a shopping center. And so we had a 2-scale model of the space that we would have to roll these things around. Yes, and then at the final show, we found out that we were not the only ones who needed that space, because the Pawpetshow is the last event before the dance. And there was a complete DJ booth, 5 meters high, with effect lights and everything permanently built in that space that we needed to turn. And it was pure luck we could still play it. We took the DJ booth that was stored in the area next to the stage where we would turn and kind of managed to like rotate it in a fashion that we could still get past. But as a side effect, we had a part of the DJ booth rig go up into the projection. And that's the one where I said, okay, just beep it. We're doing it anyway.
It was
yeah.
It was absolutely great. In the end, I think no one actually saw the mankos we have there, the problems with pretty much arranging everything with the planes and the shooting scene there.
Oh yeah, one of the best things when you do a show like this is that no one in your audience knows how it was intended to work. So we can always say, oh yeah, that's how we always want to do it. That's completely normal. We planned it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much a good part, but you said it in the very beginning. Most of the people who are usually seeing the show, especially live, have a completely other connection there. And I think the same goes, for example, for you and all the puppeteers who are there, and everyone who's helping with the show. So there's usually also a very good emotional connection usually to what is happening on stage, and maybe even to certain characters.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, I'm always happy when people get to the same conclusion than what we had in our heads. I even more like it when people laugh about the jokes we actually wrote. But audiences are completely unpredictable. It's always very, very funny to see how an audience reacts to something you wrote. Yeah, and for everyone who is watching the show for the first time, I know 3 hours is a long time, and I'm afraid the pace stumbles a bit in the second act, but just stay with us. I promise you the last act is really good. So don't miss the end of the story. It's really, really good.
I can only agree on that part, especially when everything is getting wrapped up and we have a little bit more story that is coming to the end and a twist that is also very interesting. So yes, please stay from there. But still, we have a little bit more moments that we can still talk about the show. We have still more 40 minutes something. So
yeah, is there anything going on in the chat right now?
Sorry. I should not be muted here. Yes, there should be something. However, I didn't prepare someone who could be going with questions right now. So this is a little bit improvised, right? And I have to look it up.
Yeah, let me have a second. All right.
Cheetah, you're still using Windows. Can you please
yes,
tell why
I am.
you look why they are asking that?
Yes, I'm still using Windows. I mean, that's not a question for that show, though. that was 3 years earlier. Okay, anyone, if anyone has any questions, just dump them in the Twitch chat, and I'll have a look at it and try to answer it. But yeah, I think the biggest blooper in this show that I don't know. Sometimes I leave glitches in the recording because they were part of the fun, and sometimes we have glitches that are just breaking the show, and those I usually edit out. One thing that would have broken the show and still, kind of sort of worked in the live situation was in the very last scene, there is a character that does not have a microphone for technical reasons. Usually we do all the voices live. But in this case, the voice of this character was also our backstage manager. So she was not available for voice acting. So since she had only had like 5 lines or so, we pre-recorded those lines, and I was supposed to play them at the appropriate time, and nobody would notice. Yeah, what happened? This show was grotesquely over-ambitious, and I was still editing sound effects a day before the show. And what completely slipped my mind was that there were pre-recorded lines for this character, and I did not program them into my sample computer. So when that scene started, the first characters said their lines, and there was silence. And I was sitting in the control booth like, what's holding everyone up? And then my backstage intercom rang, and Risa said, "Where's the sound?" And I'm like, "What sound?" And I was like, "Oops, shit! Can someone improvise?" And Tani, who played Arthur, luckily left all the other lines in her version of the script, and so she like changed her voice and read both roles. But in the middle, we had about like a minute of dead air, and that had to be edited out because it completely ruined the entire flow. The music didn't match anymore. Everybody was scratching their heads. So yeah, stuff like that we usually edit out. But I'm pretty sure there's still lots of funny stuff you can spot where we just, I don't know, screwed up.
Come on.
But that's part of the fun of doing something live. That's just part of the thrill.
Definitely.
Not everything is going to work.
I think I still can remember that we actually did the 3.2 2 times because of sound issues at the very beginning.
Yeah, that is correct too. Yeah, we started that one over because one of the microphones just decided to drop out exactly at the beginning of the scene. We do microphone checks before every scene, but sometimes just Murphy's Law strikes and something stops working the moment you need it. Happens. But a lot of things just worked beautifully. We did a lot of things that we did not think we could actually do in the beginning.
Definitely.
So
I would say the airships definitely, especially the flying scene. That was one of the hardest ones we had. But despite of that, also, for example, most of the running and acting that we had there. Remembering the 2 extras that we had, for example, who had to shoot after Arthur and Cal and Florence after they jumped out of the ship. So we had to pretty much put it after pretty late time and had to tell the people, you have to do that, you're shooting there. Please do that.
But again, I mean, that's all part of the experience, and it wouldn't be us if we wouldn't be trying to push our limits. And we did push limits a little bit hard for that, but yeah. Oh, I see one question popping up. If we're going to make this available on YouTube, yes, of course we will. Right after this screening today, some point later in the evening, we're going to make it available for our supporters on Patreon first. And then 4 weeks later, this will be available for everyone. So that means you can still become one of our patrons if you like to. And if you allow me that shameless plug, you are going to get early access to everything we post on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel too. That we post lots of behind-the-scenes info and making-of features, and this is also where we put all our old shows. We have other stuff there, like a playlist with all the title songs and, well, all the fan stuff.
And you should really watch it. There's a lot of stuff they're putting up currently on the Patreon itself. And of course, if you are a Patreon, you get also the newest information about the next production. So also look forward to that, because there will also be a show next year. So
hopefully.
We hope definitely so. You're at least producing it right now, and I already had a glimpse what is coming there. But right now we are still talking about Skies of Astar.
Yes, we are.
I think something that went very, very well was the relationship between the 3 main characters there. And this time we didn't go with something very, very common, but rather something, as you said, the problem of the translation of speech and how people should react there. I would say we did it very, very good.
Yeah, I'm actually super glad it worked out the way I wanted to, because it's always hard to have a character that just stops moving while she's talking. And there are entire segments where there's no movement on screen and you're just hearing the telepathic communication. But that's a bit unusual for a visual medium like that. And I don't think the pros would have done it like that, but I don't know. We couldn't come with any other way, and I think it worked nicely. And I like to believe we had fairly original characters. I mean, if you open tvtropes.org, you can probably still check off the list of everything that we did. But still, yeah, I'm at least the redemption arc of the bad guy is a little bit elaborate than the one in Demon Hunters, where the guy basically turns around in one scene.
That is very true. Cal has a very, very interesting development there. He's starting out as a thug, more or less, and becoming one of the main
Don't
cast.
spoil everything. There's still people who haven't seen this yet.
Point taken. Point taken. Cal is one of the very bad people, and he should feel bad. Okay. But still.
So yeah, we are also going to talk a lot of the Skies of Astar in our panel that I'm doing with Haku together tomorrow at 2:15 p.m. On Sunday, CEST. Don't ask me what the other time zones are. I'm not very good at that. So we're going to talk a lot more about how little things you write into a script can have big consequences for the people who have to realize it. And this show is a very good example of putting a few lines in a script and causing other people a lot of grief and work with that. Like, oh yeah, can we have this dragon creature that's 2 meters long and has wings and can fly and is big enough to fit 3 other puppets on her back and stuff like that. Yeah, at Eurofurence, we barely made the show work. We really barely made it work. We learned a lot of lessons from this show. Things we should do different, things that we should not attempt like that any time again. I remember that we had to put in extra rehearsals backstage to take to check certain props because the rehearsal slot that we had been allotted would not nearly fit to try out all the things we needed to still try out. And we were still building props until very shortly before the show. And that's usually a very red warning flag that something in the process has gone horribly wrong. So it is going to be very, very nice today to just watch the show without any stress and, with at least the minor kinks ironed out and just look at the... Look at the... God, stop distracting me back there. They're making funny faces at me. What was I about to say? Thank you for throwing me off. And just remember the good things about the show because we had some tough talks and negotiations in our feedback meeting, our internal feedback meeting up after the show of the stuff we are definitely not going to try again. But anyway, the stuff that worked, it was a great show. Just enjoy it as it is, and so am I.
I can only agree on that point. It is absolutely phenomenal what we did there. Yes, it was completely crazy. A lot of people were quite exhausted after the show, especially since one of our managers actually fell ill beforehand. That made everything a lot more difficult. And it was absolutely great what the people did behind there and actually stepped in to help and make the show still, even if someone very important dropped beforehand.
Greg Markage says, poor Cheetah will have flashbacks and will sit directing this from his living room. It's actually Jarek's living room, but yeah, I'm going to clap after every scene. You bet. And someone else says, yeah, the first time the Pawpetshow is going to start on time. Yes, indeed. If this is not going to start on time, then BBF, I wish someone should call an ambulance and see what happened to BBF. Because he's got the honor to press the mighty play button today for us.
Definitely, but so far he seems pretty fine and very, very happy about what is currently with EFO in general. I can maybe drop some information right now because we are about to hit something about 2,400 people on Discord. And we had somewhat about 11,000 somewhat watchers of this Twitch live stream. So, and this was just the beginning on Friday. There are still this very day that is currently running, and of course tomorrow as well, where, just Cheetah said, we'll also have another talk about how script writing usually goes and, well, where it usually ends. And Skies of Astar.
I have a bet going on with Ice Folks that if anyone here manages to sit through the whole thing, then I'm going to give him. I can't disclose that here, but yeah, he will get something from me. So we dare you to watch it.
Definitely. By the way, Cheetah, you will still have the possibility to talk, of course, with the people in the text chat that will be also open through the whole Pawpetshow. So if people are stating questions, maybe you can help them a little bit with some information from behind the curtain.
Yes, I'll be definitely, during the show, I'll be definitely having an eye on the Twitch chat. So if there's anything you'd like to know or tell me, just do. And I'll probably try to answer you.
Okay. I also meant the Discord chat. So it would be great if you could be there.
Yes, I'm already in the chat. I have no idea how many chats I will be able to monitor at the same time, but I'll do my best.
Seems fine. Okay. I think we are running more or less out of time already because their show will be coming up. We have only 1 more minute. So any last words, Cheetah, you would like to tell the people before the show is running?
The last thing, before the show starts and everyone's seated and the lights are out, that I say usually is, go. That's always the last thing that puppeteers hear from me before the show starts. So, go. Enjoy the show.